Hello, lighting people. Today, we're plugging into one of the industry's more dynamic stories in the distribution sector, Sonepar, the worldwide leader in B2B electrical distribution with over $35 billion in sales last year. In a transformative 2023 and 2024 marked by 7 North American acquisitions that added over $2 billion to its top line, Sonepar continues to electrify the market. So we thought it would be a good idea to catch up with Sonepar US's Chief Operating Officer, Dana Mouritzen, to discuss numerous topics from lighting market dynamics to artificial intelligence. Dana, hello, and thank you for joining us today for 5 Big Questions.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Dana, your company is huge and your presence in North America and the US is very, very large and significant. When you look at the lighting markets right now in 2025, what do you see as the dynamics and how is Sonepar adjusting to them?
Sure. Yeah, several things. Product technologies are stabilizing, so our teams are spending more time back on application and product expertise with customers versus keeping up with all the changes. That's a welcome dynamic shift there. Controls continue to get more and more attention. They're proprietary, so one of the things we're watching closely is if we're going to see some standardization or open architecture being introduced. We think that could be an interesting introduction. Just-in-time deliveries, distributor logistics is it's been growing, it continues to grow in terms of helping our customers with the projects in particular. Digital is a dynamic, transparency, ease of information, lead time, shipping time. This is getting a lot of attention from our suppliers, ourselves, and our customers are really looking for more of that. A couple other things, new channels are emerging with the proliferation of lighting manufacturers. You know, with digital and the ability to reach more customers, it's an enabler for a lot of these manufacturers and also the integrated solutions, you know, no longer a lamp and a fixture. It also helps with these. So new channels, new manufacturers, and then, finally, to be a little more tactical, projects for us did better in 24 than our stock and flow business did. So those are kind of the highlights.
You just went through a whole laundry list of things that really just so many of those topics you just rattled off show all the transformation and the advancement of the industry and the logistics that support the underbelly of it. That last comment you made about stock and flow and projects, of course, every electrical distribution company is trying to have that balance of being able to serve both of those. Yet they're still very different businesses at times. How do you approach that as Sonepar in the U.S. with all your different brands and at the local level, chasing the project business, supporting that with great project management, while also having your preferred stock and flow vendors and delivering those to your local customers as well? How do you balance that all?
Yeah, it's a great question. It starts with understanding the needs of the customers and from a stock and flow business standpoint, more and more in our operating companies, you're seeing what we call category management professionals versus, basic purchasing, associates. We're seeing more and more category management professionals that are working with our sales, our projects teams, the manufacturers, the lighting reps, to understand the voice of the customer, the needs of the market, and to make sure that those two things, really the voice of the customer, play a more prominent role in the assortment of our inventory, and the goal being to have an inventory that creates sales versus simply an inventory of what sells. And then on the project side, it's the same thing. Voice of the customer leading us. It has led us to invest more into our project teams, both in terms of lighting expertise and project management expertise, to help the customer with their challenges, which are, I need the product, on the job when I need it, not before, consuming space. So really understanding those, customizing our processes, customizing our tools to help them manage that. And internally, we see more and more of our projects teams becoming centralized and standardized versus branch by branch or laying that burden on outside inside teams to deliver that value. So, and then of course we have digital tools that support both sides of that, the stock and flow and the project side, to help enable these professionals to deliver the value to the customer, the supplier, and each other.
With the scale of your business, it makes sense that you can utilize some of those shared services and then have the digital backbone to back up some of those processes that you just mentioned. And that may have been one of the contributions to how you folks were able to make 7 acquisitions in the last couple of years and add a couple $billion, billion with a B, to your top line. And those acquisitions span from New Mexico to Michigan to Massachusetts. So when you look at the organic growth and the M&A strategy, how would you describe that focus on how you folks are able to do those types of things and still deliver at the local level?
Yeah. Well, thanks for recognizing that activity and the lead up to it. We have a very aggressive but disciplined approach to acquisitions, and certainly one of the goals for every acquisition is to enable accelerated growth, both for the acquired company and for our other existing operating companies. And so, there's a lot of learnings from the acquired companies and learnings from Sonepar that we use across every discipline, whether lighting or operational, some other disciplines. So there's a lot of benefit from that two-way collaboration. The other thing is that at our scale, we're making these massive investments in areas like digital and supply chain, literally billions of dollars going into these areas. And these are investments well beyond what even the largest acquisitions that we've done could contemplate. And so there's value created by applying those investments to those acquisitions, as you kind of alluded to. And finally, geographically, we have the ability to be everywhere our customers want to be, as we fill in the white space through this process. So a lot of benefits to the customer, to our acquirees, and to our existing operating companies through this effort.
You just mentioned white space. What white space does Sonepar have? It feels like you put all the map pins on the map and you got pretty good coverage.
Yeah, it's pretty. There's not much left, but we still have plenty of aspiration for more acquisitions.
That's great. That's great. So you mentioned earlier something about lighting representatives or lighting agents, and of course, at the local level, there's so many players that might chase business on the stock and flow side and on the project side. Thinking more about the project side. When you work with lighting agents, there's on any project, there's going to be multiple contractors chasing that, multiple distributors, multiple lighting agents that are going to be chasing that same project. How do you describe, the value that the agent brings and what that, good relationship at the distributor agent level looks like?
Yeah. We think of the local lighting reps as amplifiers to the value that we can bring to customers. And so we encourage collaboration between our operating companies and the lighting reps at every level. For example, in many instances, we've trained the local reps on our digital solutions so that they have more tools in their belt as they're thinking about how to bring value to the marketplace, joint planning, and so on and so forth. So they're amplifiers, and we emphasize lighting training and development in our own people so they can bring more of that value to the rep as well as the customer moving forward. So an important relationship for sure.
Yeah, it is. And in a perfect world, we'd all, have everyone as our best ally and partner, but the way the dynamics work out, sometimes you're closer to some than others, and you got to, make it work the way you just described. And I'm sure there's lots of agents chomping at the bit to be partners with Sonepar at the local level. And when we transition to a term that you've used a few times, you've talked about digital tools and digital transformation. Your role, of course, is the COO. Operationally, I can only imagine the complexity of your digital backbone that you have running the operations of your business. Let's talk a little bit more about that. What are some of the things that you folks do that you think deliver unique value? And with AI being such a big thing these days, is Sonepar leveraging AI in its operations as well?
Yeah, it is a great topic. And if you step back, our general goals are to provide a world-class customer experience world-class associate experience, and world-class supplier experience by driving simplicity, transparency, efficiency, into the relationships. And digital is a tool to accomplish all that. And so with that in mind, the aim of our digital efforts, including AI, is to strengthen our team members' value to those three stakeholders: the customer, the manufacturer, and our supplier, and each other. So inside of Sonepar, digital transformation impacts every discipline of our organization and every way that we interact with our customer and our suppliers, whether we're talking about digital job center that we use to engage with the project people in our contractors, for example, our website or mobile app, or tools that help our sales turn quotes around in seconds versus hours. All these tools provide transparency, they provide speed, they provide accuracy, you name it. Digital transformation touches all of it. And AI is increasingly present in all of these solutions. And it's not like there's some big bang event, but you're seeing AI just become more and more integral to all of those. And another thing I'll say about the tools that we're increasingly using, many of them are developed internally. We use a lot of third-party commercial programs, but all of what we do digitally is developed and directed by the voice of the customer, by the voice of our people, and by the voice of our suppliers. So we feel like if we listen closely to the customer, we're going to continue to develop in the right directions and apply AI in ways that are meaningful to them and our relationship.
Yeah, that's a good recap. And you've been in the business a long time, and taking over a COO role, I can only imagine how sophisticated the business has got in the time you've been in the industry and with Sonepar. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg with all this inflection of AI now becoming a tipping point for even more advancements happening very, very rapidly. I'm out of my 5 questions, but we're a couple weeks into 2025. I haven't seen you folks make any big acquisition announcements. While I have you, we talked about acquisitions. Do you want to announce anything right now while I have you, Dana?
Don't want to announce anything other than repeating what I said earlier. We definitely have aspiration for further acquisitions, and we're interested in great companies and great cultures, people that we can learn from, as well as people we can help to grow. And we certainly have a very active list and dialogues happening, as you can imagine. So I fully anticipate to have more formal announcements moving forward, but nothing in particular to say today other than that.
That's fair. And so, yes, we will look for Sonepar to continue making headlines in 2025 as we look ahead. Dana, thank you so much for joining us today for 5 Big Questions.
I appreciate the time. Thanks for having me.